You are welcome to the Messiah Revelation channel, prophetic channel dedicated to the end times. In this message, we are looking at the arrival of the Messiah, Yeshua. Time is now for him to arrive. Revelations show that the final trumpet of heaven has sounded. And we are looking at the implications of the arrival of the Messiah for the Hebrew Israelites. How will the arrival of the Messiah, Yeshua, affect the Hebrew Israelites? I'm talking about the chosen of God, the children of Jacob, who are still scattered over the world. How will their lives change? And what is their destiny? When the Messiah comes, it's going to affect the arrival of the Messiah. Is going to change the world. It is going to change the lives of the Hebrew Israelites who are still scattered over the world. So we are looking at 5 ways in which the arrival of the Messiah will change the life, the condition, and the spiritual destiny of the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. Number 1, when the Messiah comes, prophecy will be fulfilled, and that prophecy is the Isaiah prophecy regarding the gathering of the children of Jacob. Isaiah 11, verse 11 to 12, and that is the most detailed prophetic declaration about the gathering, the future gathering of the children of Jacob from captivity all over the world. The implication of the arrival of the Messiah is that the prophet Isaiah has prophesied that it will be Yeshua, the Messiah, who would do the gathering of the outcasts of Judah, disperse the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. And so when the Messiah comes, it will trigger the Isaiah prophecy in Isaiah chapter 11, verses 11 to 12. The prophet Isaiah has outlined the places where the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah will be gathered from. Included is Cush, which is in Africa. Included is the islands of the sea, the island nations beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, and the island nations beyond the Atlantic Ocean. Of course, the Ethiopian Ocean, the name was changed into the Atlantic Ocean. They are changing names of places, changing names of people to deceive and confuse the true Hebrews who are scattered all over the world. And I'm here to tell you that not only do they change names of places, they also change their own names so that Ashkenazi name will look like a Hebrew name. And that is why if you go to Israel, most of the prime ministers in Israel, they change their names to sound more quote unquote Jewish. And so the arrival of the Messiah, Yeshua, will impact the Negroes who are the Hebrews, because the Messiah, the root of Jesse, the enzyme, will be the one who will gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. And so that is one of the major ways how the Messiah Yeshua will change the life and the conditions of the Hebrews who are still in captivity, in North America, in the Caribbean, in Latin, Central America, all over the world, and also in the continent of Africa. The Messiah will gather them consistent with the prophecy in Isaiah chapter 11, verses 10 to 12. And of course, it's also consistent with the prophecy in Matthew 25, verse 31. Of course, the arrival of the Messiah, Yeshua, will not have any meaning for the Jews because they conclude they have already been gathered. They were gathered in 1948. They were gathered by the finger of God, quote unquote. If I'm to quote Pastor John Hagee of the United States, the Jews were already gathered 1948 by President Harry Truman of America, Lord Balfour of England, and the Rothschild family. And the alliance between the three classes of people resulted in what I would call a fake gathering of people who purport to be the chosen of God. Yeshua is coming. It will eventually change the outcome. It will change history. History will be rewritten. The Ashkenazi Jews will have to rewrite their history. And the evangelicals in America, they have to undo their false teaching. Because when Yeshua comes and gathers the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah from the places discussed in Isaiah 11 verse 12, the fake evangelicals will now know who the true chosen of God are, the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. Even the Hebrews, who are now called Negroes. The second way where the arrival of the Messiah will affect the Hebrew Israelites is when the Messiah begins to gather the nations for judgment. And that is in Matthew chapter 25, verse 31. Yeshua, the Messiah, when he comes, he will gather nations for judgment. He's coming to execute judgment. Judgment has been given to the Messiah. If you read John chapter 5, verse 27, the Lord has given judgment to the Messiah, and he is coming to execute judgment. And when he comes, he will gather the nations of the world for judgment. And what will be the basis of judgment? Of course, these are the wicked nations who will rebel against the Messiah, and the Messiah will judge them. The rebellious nations, the wicked nations, and the Messiah will be looking particularly to the nations who mistreated, abused, and subdued the chosen of God. I'm talking about the Hebrew Israelites. The nations will be judged by the Messiah based upon how they dealt with the Hebrew Israelites, how they treated the Hebrew Israelites, and the Lord will remember the Gentile empires and nations that took the children of Jacob into captivity, beginning in Egypt, in Assyria, in Babylon, and also in Gentile America and beyond the Atlantic Ocean. The Lord would gather those nations and judge those nations. And when the Messiah Yeshua is judging the Gentile nations, he will not forget the Berlin powers, the powers that met in Berlin 1884 to 1885, divided the continent of Africa among themselves and came and stole the resources of Africa and also kept in captivity the children of Jacob who were weak and meek after fleeing the captivity in Jerusalem, after fleeing the invasion of Jerusalem by Gentile Rome, they were weak and they were living in captivity, and they were taken away again on slave ships aboard the ships owned by Gentile powers, Gentile kings and queens, including Queen Elizabeth I of England, who owned a slave ship that was used to enslave the children of Jacob. And so when the Messiah is judging the Gentile nations, he will remember England, he will remember Spain, he will remember Portugal, and of course he will remember United States of America. You will remember the Gentile powers. You will remember the Euro-Gentile powers. The Euro-Gentile powers, Portugal, Spain, America, who led into captivity the children of Jacob. And so in that way, the gathering of the nations by the Messiah upon his arrival will impact the Hebrew Israelites, because they will see that now the Lord will avenge their blood on the wicked Gentile powers, the Berlin powers, the Daniel powers, the kingdoms of this world, whose kingdoms are going to fall to give way to the kingdom of Yeshua. That kingdom is everlasting, based upon the prophecy of our brother Daniel. And the time will come when you will see Yeshua gathering the nations. You gather the nations as the police gathers criminals, and he will judge them. Judgment will come, final judgment will come. It will be judgment of individuals, but before then, before the day of the Lord, before the day of the final judgment of Elohim, the Messiah will have gathered the nations of the world and will execute judgment on them, remembering how they kept in captivity the children of Jacob. So the third way where the arrival of the Messiah will affect the Hebrew Israelites is the cleansing of the holy city, Jerusalem. The Messiah will come, Jerusalem will be his capital, and you have to do a fumigation exercise. A lot of fumigants will be used, spiritual fumigants, to rid the holy city of defilement. Because as you are aware, the Messiah said in Luke 21, verse 24, and I'll read for the record, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. The times of the Gentiles who have occupied Jerusalem and will be occupying Jerusalem until their time is up. When will the time of the Gentiles be up? I was watching a video by Pastor John Hagee, an American evangelical and a strong supporter of the 1948 state. And he made a false statement, and the statement is that the times of the Gentiles spoken of in Luke 21:24 ended in 1967. Why? Because he claims that in 1967, the Jewish state took control over Jerusalem by military conquest, and so that was the end of the Gentiles. 1967 marked the end of the Gentiles. What a false Bible teaching, what a false theology. The time of the Gentiles will be up when the Messiah comes, And when he comes and he starts cleansing Jerusalem, it will impact the Hebrew Israelites, because everybody will know that those who say they are Jews, they are not, they are of the synagogue of Satan. And the Messiah said it in two places in the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 2 verse 9 and Revelation chapter 3 verse 9. The Messiah said, in the end of days, there will be blasphemy of those who say they are Jews, but they are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. They will be encompassing Jerusalem, and they will be defiling the city, the holy city of Jerusalem. They will defile it with all courtesan. They will defile it with Freemasonry ideology and culture. And their Supreme Court will have Masonic symbols, Freemason symbol in the Supreme Court building in Jerusalem. Jerusalem will be hosting gay flags, and Tel Aviv and Jerusalem will have the audacity to become the gay capital of the world. The Messiah knew that, and so in Revelation, he referred to Jerusalem as Sodom and Egypt, the place where the two Hebrew witnesses will be killed. There will be an earthquake in Sodom and Egypt. The Lord was referring to Jerusalem. He was referring to the city which will have been captured by the Gentiles, where the Hebrews will be driven away from that city, and the Gentiles will defy the city with LGBT flags. They will defy the city with armada of ships. They will defy the city with violence, and they will defy the city with lies, because they will say they are the chosen of God, they are Jews, but the Messiah is aware that those who say they are Jews are not, they are of the synagogue of Satan. And so the Hebrew Israelites will be impacted, because finally the Gentiles' time will end when the Messiah comes, and the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews, they are not, the blasphemy will be exposed, and those who look down upon the true Hebrews, they will be ashamed. And so when the Messiah comes and begins cleansing the city of Jerusalem, he will be preparing a table for the Hebrew Israelites before their enemies. And their enemies are a lot. The enemies are fake evangelicals. The enemies will be Gentile nations. Their enemies will be those who are enemies of the Messiah, and they will be distorting history, and they will be stealing the identity of the true chosen of God, the Hebrew Israelites. The cleansing of Jerusalem by the Messiah, who comes to rule from Jerusalem, will be a day of judgment for the Gentiles, and it will be a day of elevation of the Hebrew Israelites, and it will be a day when the truth will come out, and it will be a day of the turning of the tables, where the first will be last and the last will be first. The tail will be the head, and the head will be the tail. There will be purification of abomination in Jerusalem, and the city will be holy. It will be a holy residence, and it is a city where the Hebrews who are scattered over the world, they will go and offer their sacrifice and worship their God, the true God, who will live among them. He will live in the midst of his people, the Hebrew Israelites. They will be gathered from all the four corners of the earth, and they will march to Zion, and the Lord will live in their midst, and the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews but they are not will be exposed, and the Lord will judge the wicked nations. So in that way, it will impart the Hebrew Israelites. And the fourth way where the arrival of the Messiah will impart the Hebrew Israelites is the building of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. The temple was destroyed, as you are aware, and the Messiah made a prophecy about it, that not a stone of the temple will remain. The Gentiles will desecrate the temple, and the temple was destroyed by the Gentile powers. The temple will be built again. The Jews will purport to be building a temple, but the Lord showed me in a vision that a temple will be built, and it will be a temple with divine specifications. It will not be specification by architects. It will not be specification by those who are in the profession of building towers, including the Trump towers that are in New York. The temple that will be built in Jerusalem will be a temple built based upon divine specification. And by the way, it will be a holy temple, and LGBT flag will not be hoisted inside the temple. It will be the millennial temple. It will be holy, and that is the temple where the chosen of God will enter to worship their holy God. They will no longer be worshiping the god of Balaam and Beelzebub, the god of Baal and Baphomet. The Hebrew Israelites will not be worshiping the god of Illuminati and Freemason. They will be worshiping the true God, the Most High, in Jerusalem, in a temple that will be built by the Messiah based upon divine specification. So in that way, the lives and the spiritual conditions of the Hebrews will change. The Lord will have given them a new covenant based upon Jeremiah 31 verse 31, and they'll be worshiping in a temple, a holy temple built by Elohim themselves. It will not be a temple built by Ashkenazi Jews. And lastly, the fifth way in which the arrival of the Messiah will affect the Hebrew Israelites is when the Messiah sends his people to all the four corners of the earth to evangelize. And the evangelists will be the Hebrews, who today are called the Negroes, and they will be doing the evangelism. They will spread the gospel of the Messiah, the gospel of the kingdom, to all the four corners of the earth. And you should not be surprised, because the Hebrew Israelites are supposed, ought to be, and should be a light unto the Gentiles. And so a time will come when they will begin to fulfill their prophetic destiny, and they will uphold their mandate to be the salt of the world, their mandate to be a light unto the Gentiles. And before the Messiah comes, you see that the Hebrews, even the Negroes, they will form the basis of the 144,000 witnesses who will be sealed, and they will be evangelizing to the whole world. The Hebrews, two of them, holy prophets, two of them, they will come to the world, and they will be witnesses to the world, and they will spread the gospel of the kingdom to the world. I'm talking about the two Hebrew witnesses spoken of in the book of Revelation, chapter 11. And I'm also talking about the Hebrew evangelists spoken of in the book of Revelation, chapter 7. And I'm talking finally about the Hebrew evangelicals who will move out of Jerusalem and spread the word of the kingdom, the word of the Lord to all the four corners of the earth. And at that time, everybody will know who the chosen of God are, and they will be dwelling in their own land. They will have been gathered from all the four corners of the earth. A table will have been prepared for them in the presence of their enemies, because the nation that oppressed them will be judged based upon Matthew 25, verse 31. And Jerusalem, which was taken over by Gentiles, will no longer be under Gentile control. The Gentiles will find their way. They will be smoked out. They will be chased out from the city, and no longer will they defy the holy city. And so for the Hebrew Israelites, wait, your redemption is coming. You repent of your sins and have hope and assurance that the Egyptians that you see today, you will see them no longer. This is Messiah Revelation Ministry, informing you that the final trumpet of heaven has sounded based upon revelation, and you have to repent. But be assured that the Lord is coming. Yeshua even is coming on Mount Zion, and you will be elevated, and the prophecies will be fulfilled. You possess your land. Jerusalem will be ridden off of Gentiles, and your Gentile captors will be judged, and your name will be restored, and you will be the royal priest that you are. You'll be a holy nation, and you will continue to be a light unto the Gentiles. Thank you. My email is raptureafrica@yahoo.com. I'm leaving it in the description box. Thank you very much.